There you go, you like it. It's good.
Do you have the? Okay. Okay. Ready?
Yes, please.
Assalamualaikum.
This is very nature.
Okay. Okay, let's get started inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Inshallah, let's continue from where we left off in the tafsir of Surah Al-Qassas, and we got up to verse, I think, number 18 or 17, and in that
Again?
we got to verse number 17 or 18. So we'll have a review of that. We looked at the story in which Mosa alayhi salam, he had the confrontation with the Egyptian, and he hit him, and he ended up dying. Upon seeing that, Musa alayhi salam, he realized that he had made a mistake. So he made turn to Allah. قال ربي إني ظلمت نفسي فاغفر لي فغفر له. That he realized that he ظلمت نفسي, I've committed a sin, I've done something wrong, I killed somebody by accident. فاغفر لي, oh Allah, forgive me. فغفر له, and Allah, he forgave him. إنه هو الغفور الرحيم, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ghafoor, the oft forgiving, and Rahim, he is the one who is most merciful. When you continue to verse number 17, قال ربي, بما أنعمت علي فلن أكون ظهيرا للمجرمين. That in verse number 17, we find that Musa alayhi salam, he says something very interesting. And he says, قال ربي, O my Lord, بما أنعمت علي, that you have blessed me. You have given me many things. You have favored me in many things. فَلَنْ أَكُونَ, that I will not be. This is talking about the present as well as the future tense. I will not be ظَهِيرًا. Dhahir means a supporter or a protector. لِلْمُجْرِمِينَ, for those who are criminals. Because Musa alayhi salam, when that confrontation took place between the Egyptian and between the Bani Israel, Musa alayhi salam, he saw the confrontation, he listened to the Bani Israel, and he saw, or he assumed that he was the one being oppressed, so he came in to help him. When he helped him, he realized that the person actually was a troublemaker. The person from the Bani Israel was somebody who was troublesome, and he didn't do his due investigation. He assumed that the person was being wronged, so he tried to help him. And in that, he ended up, making a mistake. So, فَلَنْ أَكُونَ, Musa alayhi salam, he makes tawbah to Allah. He asks Allah to forgive him. But on top of that, he says, فَلَنْ أَكُونَ, and then I will not be ظَهِيرًا, a supporter for the mujrimeen, for those who are wrongdoers. Implying that the person who Musa alayhi salam went to help from his tribe, from his Shia, from the Bani Israel, the person was a mujrim. The person was a troublemaker, and he was actually a criminal, right? So he come to see that. So Musa alayhi salam, I will never be a supporter or come to aid of those who cause trouble or cause problems on this earth. Okay. Then after this confrontation takes place, we find the following day, Musa alayhi salam, he is conscious and aware of what has happened. He realizes the seriousness of the fact that he is from the children of Israel and he has killed an Egyptian, and he's aware of what is possibly going to happen. The following day, فَأَصْبَحَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ خَائِفًا, that Musa alayhi salam, فَأَصْبَحَ, the word أصبح, it means to become, and also it means صباحا, the following day, in the morning. And notice how in the previous verses, when Musa alayhi salam, he came out before, he came out at a time in which it was very quiet. And we mentioned that was the qaylula time or the siesta time where people are resting. But now, فَأَصْبَحَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ, in the morning time. Now what's the difference between the morning time and the siesta time? The biggest difference is that there is, now people are out and about. Right? Now it's more public. There's people there. Whereas the previous incident that took place, that was in the lunchtime where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned there wasn't many people around. It was just them two, and he saw the problem. So now, فَأَصْبَحَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ, now Musa Islam is the morning time and he's in the city. There's people around. كَانَ خَائِفًا, he was what? Afraid, yeah? Of the consequences of what is going to happen. يَتَرَقَّبُ, and he was also watchful and vigilant, meaning he was not just afraid, but he was conscious something is going to happen. Because of what happened yesterday, he's looking around, thinking something is going to happen. There's going to be some consequence of what happened. فَإِذَا الَّذِي اسْتَنصَرَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ يَسْتَصْرِخُ, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the person, فَإِذَا الَّذِي اسْتَنصَرَهُ, then the person that sought the help yesterday, بِالْأَمْس, yesterday, this very person now, what is he doing? He is what? يَسْتَصْرِخُهُ, he is calling out, yeah, for help. So the same person that he helped out the day before, this same person now he bumps into him. So imagine Musa alayhi salam the following day is trying to avoid this person because of what happened, and now it's in the morning time, and the very person he sees is that same guy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the one who he aided and assisted yesterday, he came to him and suddenly he bumped into him. And when he bumped into him the day before, he cried out for help again. Yeah, he cried out for help. قَالَ لَهُ مُوسَى إِنَّكَ لَغَوِيٌّ مُبِينٌ. So the story behind this is that Musa alayhi salam, again, he saw this person, and this person again was getting into another confrontation or another problem. When he saw Musa alayhi salam, he called out to Musa, asking him for help again. Come aid me, assist me in the problem that I have with another person. Musa alayhi salam, when he saw this, he realized that this man who he aided yesterday is actually a troublemaker. Because yesterday he was in trouble, today again he is in trouble. And likewise says, فَلَنْ أَكُونَ ظَهِيرًا لِلْمُجْرِمِينَ, that I'm not a supporter for the mujrim, the criminals, showing that the man he helped yesterday was actually a criminal. قَالَ لَهُ مُوسَى, Musa, then he really said to him, إِنَّكَ لَغَوِيٌّ مُبِينٌ, that indeed you are somebody who is astray. You clearly are a bad person, right? You have done something wrong, and you are لغوي, another word, a meaning of the word غوي is like somebody who takes advantage. Yeah, in modern English, you could probably describe that as like a con artist. Yeah, somebody who says something but meaning something else. So he's calling out for help when he's actually the one making the trouble, right? So he's trying to draw Musa Salam's attention. Mubin meaning clear. فلما أن أراد أن يبطش بالذي هو عدو لهما قال يا موسى أتريد أن تقتلني كما قتلت نفسا بالأمس. When Musa alayhi salam hears this person يستصرخه, calling him, Musa alayhi salam then turns his attention to this person from the Bani Israel who's having another problem with somebody. Musa draws his attention to him and approaches him. As he's coming towards this same person, now what does he assume or he realize? He assumes that Musa alayhi salam is coming for him. Yeah? He thinks Musa alayhi salam he's worked him out and he's coming for him. So he says, فَلَمَّا أَنْ أَرَادَ أَنْ يَبْطِشَ. So then when Musa was about to lay his hands on their foe, so this Bani Israel, this person, was having another problem with somebody else. Musa alayhi salam was approaching to help him out for a second time. But as he came closer, that he realized that, or he assumed that Musa alayhi salam was coming for him. So it's بِالَّذِي هُوَ عَدُوًا لَهُمَا, who was a common enemy to them. When this man, he saw Musa alayhi salam coming closer to him, he said, قَالَ يَا Musa. This man, he shouted out. So I want you to, kind of live the story. That Musa alayhi salam, yesterday, he actually killed someone. Today in the morning, there's lots of people around. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said, فَأَصْبَحَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبُ. That he's already afraid, and يَتَرَقَّب meaning he's looking around, making sure no one's coming for him or going to attack him or do something. So he's on the edge. As soon as he sees this problem taking place, and one of the characteristics of Musa alayhi salam as well, we see throughout his stories, is that he wasn't a person that remained silent. That if there's any wrong taking place, he was a person that would react. He would say something. He wasn't a person who would just hold back. And we see that even in Surah Al-Kahf, right? When he was told to be patient, but every time he asked, why did you do this? Right? He couldn't hold back. He always had questions. This was from his personality. So, قَالَ يَا Musa, as Musa approached this person from the Bani Israel, this man, he shouted out. What did he shout out? He said, أَتُرِيدُ أَن تَقْتُلَنِي. Are you wanting to do what? Are you coming to kill me? So what did this man do? The one who Musa helped yesterday, and the one who Musa is trying to help today, he stabbed him in his back. And he said, shouted out loud, are you trying to kill me? كَمَا قَتَلْتَ نَفْسًا بِالْأَمْسِ. In the same way in which you killed somebody yesterday. So now what happened? Yesterday the killing was secret. Nobody knew except for a few people. Now what happened? Everybody knows now. Yeah. And who was the one who did it? Somebody from his own Bani Israel, from his own people. Somebody from his own Shia, his own group betrayed him. Yeah, shouted out and said to them that you're going to kill me just like the way you killed somebody else. And that's why this guy was a mujrim. إن تريد إلا أن تكون جبارا في الأرض وما تريد أن تكون من المصلحين. The man, he shouted out. He said, oh Musa, are you coming to kill me like you killed the man yesterday? In turidu, is it the only thing that you want to do is أن تكون جبارا في الأرض? You just want to be a jabbar. What is a jabbar? You want to be a tyrant. So he's telling the people he killed somebody yesterday. He'll kill somebody today. Musa is a bad guy. He's trying to spread rumors that Musa is a jabbar. He wants to cause trouble. He wants to cause fitna on this earth. Fil ard. وَمَا تُرِيدُ. And O Musa, all you are not. مَا تُرِيدُ أَن تَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُصْلِحِينَ. You are not from amongst those that want to do islah. You're not from amongst the ones to fix things and be a good person. So this person did that's why I use the word con artist, yeah? That he appeared to be somebody in need from his own community, but it backfired, right? He accused Musa alayhi salam as being one of those who is not one who, muslih. He's not somebody who wants to do good. Okay. Then in verse number 20, وَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ مِّنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ يَسْعَى قال يا موسى إن الملأ يأتمرون بك ليقتلك فاخرج إني لك من الناصحين. In the next verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says, وَجَاءَ رَجُلٌ مِّنْ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَةِ. Then a man came from the most furthest part of the town, يَسْعَى, and he came fast. He was in a hurry, and he was coming to Musa. Now here there's a lot of lessons that we can learn from this. Hopefully he'll be back. Okay. There's a lot of lessons that we can learn from this, that when the news now, the incident took place, the man had shouted out that Musa has killed someone and you want to kill again, you're a tyrant. So this news, what happened, it had spread. It spread so far that it reached where? It reached the headquarters. Yeah, it reached Pharaoh. So the Mala, Inna al-Mala'a ya'tamiruna. The Mala, we said, were the leaders. So Pharaoh and his henchmen, the military generals, the magicians, all of these people, they had a secret meeting. Yeah, they had a Cobra meeting. When they sat down, what did they decide? They had made a decision. What was the decision that they made? يَأْتَمِرُونَ بِكَ لِيَقْتُلُوكَ. They want to do what? They want to kill you. So the decision has been made and you're going to be killed. Now, how did Musa alayhi salam come to know of this? Because وَجَاءَ رَجُلٍ أَقْصَى الْمَدِينَ. A man from amongst the castle of Pharaoh. So this man was what? Bani Israel or Egyptian? He was Egyptian, right? Because he was from the castle. So he was a man from the other side who had come to Musa and he had informed him that you better do something because they have made a plan that they're going to kill you. And the Mala'a had made a secret meeting that they're going to kill you. And the man gave advice. He said, فَخْرُجْ, leave. إِنِّي لَكَ مِنَ النَّاصِحِينَ. Now, here interesting, a few things. Number one, this person who helped Musa alayhi salam informed him, do we know who he is? What did Allah say? Rajulun. That's it. Yeah? A man. So his name and identity, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala concealed it because his name is not important. But what's important is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described him as a what? A man. And I want to highlight that point because in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses the word dhakar, meaning a male, and sometimes Allah uses the word rajul, meaning a man. Now, man obviously biologically is a man, but more than that, this is a real man. Yeah, rajul, يعني meaning rajul معنى حقيقي, that he was a real man. He was brave. Now, this Egyptian guy who did that, he knows if he gets caught, what's going to happen to him? He's going to get killed. So he put his own neck on the line because he knew Musa, he believed in Musa, and he went and told him. Which shows us that here again, these are some of the signs of a real man. That a man who saw dhulm, he didn't stay quiet. A man who saw wrong taking place and he left the castle, put his life, his money, his wealth, everything in jeopardy for the sake of the truth. Because he went out to support Musa. He went out to support who was right and he wanted to speak out against those who were wrong. So he sacrificed himself and Allah called him Rajulun. So I just wanted to make that point, that this is a description of a real man, not just a male. And not just that, but min aqsa al-Madina, that he came from the furthest part of the town. Now, what is he? And Allah says, yas'a, that he was coming in a rush. So, at this time, there is no trains, there's no bus, there's no car. So he's coming very far away. And he is running to Musa. He understands the urgency. So it shows us that this man was a person of faith and a person who was genuine to Musa. قَالَ يَا مُوسَى إِنَّ الْمَلَأَ. Indeed, the henchmen of Pharaoh, all the leaders, they've had a يَأْتَمِرُونَ. They have conspired. They have made a council. They have made an agreement. Bika, and it is all about you. What is it? لِيَقْتُلُوكَ. That they have decided they are going to kill you. Now, if this man had stopped here, right, Musa alayhi salam, now you can imagine he may be, I'm assuming it could be a little bit, confused, that yesterday he tried to help somebody from his own tribe, yeah, and look what happened. It backfired, yeah. Today he tried to help him again, and what did he do? He exposed him, his own person. And now there is a man coming to him, showing that he's his friend, but where is he from? It's from the Egyptians. So what is Musa? Who's telling the truth?
Can you trust?
Yeah, who's to trust? Who do we trust? Do I trust my people? Do I trust those people? Who is right? Who is wrong? Yeah. So even Musa, you can imagine that Musa is not fully convinced of what is happening, taking place, confusing. That's why, one of the speculations that's why this man, what does he say when he says "Fakhruj," leave? He doesn't just stop there, but he says "Inni laka minan nasihin." He says, "Inni, indeed, I am to you a good advisor." He gives him further. He convinced him further to show him, no, I'm not lying. I'm not messing about. I'm not trying to cause you problems. I'm genuinely a good person. I'm trying to help you out. Right? So we see that there is the additional inni laka min al-nasihin. I'm trying to advise you. I'm trying to help you. So listen to me, Musa, if you want to be saved. فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبُ. So Musa alayhi salam, what did he do? He listened to the advice of this man. He listened to this advice of this man. فَخَرَجَ. So he left minha, from the city. He left from the city, خائفًا. As he was leaving the city, what was his state? He was fearful. Yeah, he was fearful. And don't forget, Musa alayhi salam, at this point, the revelations have come, but he's a big man, he's very strong, he's been through a lot, but yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala still says he was afraid. So the concept of being afraid, even within prophets, is there, the human beings. So they have these feelings, being happy, being sad, being afraid, they're humans. Likewise, yataraqabu, we said yataraqab means to be vigilant. That as he is running away from the city, and as soon as he is told that you better leave, he didn't go home, pack his suitcase, get his medical insurance, get everything right, and then leave. As soon as he heard, what did he do? He ran straight away, which means no money or very little money, very little preparation. He's just got the clothes and the money and whatever he's eaten, and that's it. And now he's running from the city, right? So you can see his state. Yataraqabu, and not just that, but as he is running, he's vigilant, meaning he's running and he is looking over his shoulder. Is somebody about to catch me? So this is the state in which Qala Rabbi Najini min al-qawmi al-zalimin. As he is running, he makes dua. He says, "Oh my Lord, Najini, save me and protect me min al-qawmi al-zalimin, from the nation that is oppressive and wrongdoing." Yeah. So you can see his situation in verse number 22. فَلَمَّا تَوَجَّهَ تِلْقَاءَ مَدْيَنَ قال عسى ربي أن يهديني سواء السبيل. ولما, and then Musa alayhi salam is running, and when he tawajjah means to face or to direct, yeah, tilqa'a Madian, in the direction of Madian. So Musa alayhi salam, he left Egypt, or he left Cairo, and he went to which city?
Madian.
He went to Madian. Good, yeah, he went to Madian. As he was making his journey, قال عسى, he was making dua to Allah as well, that perhaps Rabbi, indeed my Lord, and yahdiyani, that you will guide me sawa as-sabil, onto the right path. So he's got nothing, he's got no one, he's by himself and he's running towards Madian. He's asking Allah subhanahu to guide him and to support him and to look after him. Okay, so here a quick point as well is that when we say Madian, some people assume that this is the Madian. And we'll come to find that he'll meet a man. They say that he met here the Prophet Shu'aib, right? Some people say that Shu'aib alayhi salam. But when we analyze the ayat and we will have a look, it doesn't seem so. Okay, it doesn't seem like this is the Prophet Shu'aib alayhi salam. And we'll come to see the daughters as well. That when you look at the story, it doesn't seem like that. That this is Shu'aib. It seems like this was somebody else, because Qawm Shu'aib was destroyed. Yeah, shortly after. And Qawm Shu'aib, they were going through a lot of a variety of problems which Shu'aib alayhi salam was trying to fix. But when you see the story of Musa going to Madian, none of those things are spoken about. We don't see any issues, we don't see any problems. We see the father is Shu'aib, he's got his harvest, he's doing well, and he's looking after them, he asks them for help. So some people say it is Shu'aib, Allahu alam, but I'm not convinced. And others say it is not. It is not. It was another man, a righteous man. The story of Shu'aib is a different story. Okay. وَلَمَّا وَرَدَ مَاءَ مَدْيَنَ. So when he reached, Musa alayhi salam is running. As he's running, he reaches what? A place where there's وَرَدَ مَاءَ مَدْيَنَ, that he reaches the place of water. So he comes to a well. So he's running, comes into Madian, and he approaches a well. وَجَدَ عَلَيْهِ أُمَّةً مِنَ النَّاسِ. He finds a group of people all surrounding this well. There's a lot of people around this well. And what are they doing? يَسْقُونَ وَوَجَدَ مِن دُونِهِمْ امْرَأَتَيْنِ. That يَسْقُونَ, they are giving water to their sheep, goats, and animals. So there's a load of people around this well. All of them are gathering water, and they are feeding their sheep, and they are filling up their containers. وَوَجَدَ, and as Musa alayhi salam, he took a rest, and he looks around. وَجَدَ مِن دُونِهِمْ, other than these group of people, he found two women. Imra'atayn, he saw two women. تَذُودَانِ, that what were they doing? They were isolated. They were kept back. So Musa alayhi salam saw a well, and there's a load of people there, loads of animals and people getting access to water. But then he looked further up and he saw two women with their animals and with their things, and they were isolated. They were just standing back. So what did he do? قَالَ مَا خَطْبُكُمَا. Musa alayhi salam, he approaches these two women and he asks them, مَا خَطْبَكُمَا, what are you doing? Why are you here? Right? What are you just standing there? What are you doing? So Musa approached them with a question. Now here, another thing we come to find about Musa alayhi salam is that this scene, it looked odd. Yeah, all of these men, animals, and everything. Then there's two women just standing there by themselves. So something's not right. So that's why Musa alayhi salam, as we said, throughout his life, you'll find he wasn't a person. If he saw something not right, he wouldn't stay quiet. He would say something or do something. So again, we find here, the Musa alayhi salam, قَالَ مَا خَطْبُكُمَا, he asked the two of them, what is the matter with you? Why are you standing here? What's going on? قَالَتَا, then the two girls, they responded and they said, لَا نَسْقِي حَتَّى يُصْدِرَ الرِّعَاء. They said, we are unable to water, get water in our vessels and feed our goats and sheep, حَتَّى يُصْدِرَ, until these people, the shepherds, they take what they want and they leave. So what these girls are saying is, we can't get to the water because there's too many men here. So we're waiting for all of them to finish and then we will go and get the water. So Musa alayhi salam, he realizes that these women are in need. وَأَبُونَا, and our father, he is shaykhun kabirun. And our father, he is a shaykhun kabirun. Now the word shaykh has many meanings. One of the words of shaykh is, he's old, or it could also mean he's a leader. It could also mean he is knowledgeable. So the word shaykh has many meanings. So when you call somebody a shaykh, you may be praising him, saying he's knowledgeable, or you might be calling him an old man. Yeah. So careful who you call shaykh. If he's both old and knowledgeable, then you got no problem. So the word shaykh can mean knowledgeable, can mean old, and it can also mean a leader as well in some cases. All right, good. So they said, "Wa abuna shaykhun kabirun." So this is why it looks a bit odd. Our father is old or whatever. He is, senior or whatever. So he is unable, and we have come here to fill up the vessel and to take water back. Okay. فَسَقَى لَهُمَا ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ. Then Musa alayhi salam, فَسَقَى, then he took the utensils, he took the animals, and he gave them all water. Yeah? So he filled up the utensils, he gave all that they needed, lahuma, for the two girls. ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ. Then after he finished, he returned back to the tree where he was sitting in the shadow, and he took a rest. Now, in here, some of the scholars, they also mention that Musa alayhi salam here, and the two girls that he spoke to, there is no extra conversation that takes place. There is no speech that is unnecessary. Musa simply asked them, قَالَ مَا خَطْبَكُمَا, what are you doing here? The girls responded back and they said, قَالَتَ لَا نَسْقِي حَتَّى يُصْدِرَ الرِّعَاء. They said, we can't get to the water until these people go. وَأَبُونَا شَيْخٌ كَبِيرٌ, and our father is old. Full stop. So Musa didn't extend the conversation with these two girls. And the two girls also, they didn't extend the conversation with Musa. Just what they needed, they said it, and what he needed to say, he said it. And when Musa alayhi salam, he gave them the water, فَسَقَى لَهُمَا ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ. After he did his duty, he didn't sit there, have a chit-chat, have a cup of tea and talk with them. No, he did what he did, and ma salam, and he went back. So, فَسَقَى لَهُمَا ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ. So there was no extra communication. He moved and he sat under the shade. فَقَالَ رَبِّي. And then when he did that, Musa alayhi salam, he made a dua, رَبِّي إِنِّي لِمَا أَنزَلْتَ إِلَيَّ مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَقِيرٍ. Musa alayhi salam now, you can imagine that he's ran away from Egypt and he's gone to Midian. As soon as he got to Midian, he saw these two women being oppressed. So he went through the crowd, he gave them water, he helped them. After he's done that, he goes and sits back under the tree and he makes a dua to Allah. And this dua, wallahi, it shows the emotions of Musa. He said, Inni lima anzalta ilayya, oh my Lord, whatever you have, whatever you have given me, or whatever provisions you have given me, ilayya min khayrin faqir, that I have, it is good for me and I am in need. This showing the position of Musa alayhi salam, that what he's saying at this stage, that he is in need of help. Yeah, he's got nothing. Musa alayhi salam literally got no food, no provision, he doesn't know where he's going to sleep, nothing. So he turns to Allah sitting under the tree after just helping those two girls. Ya Allah, you are the one who gives, and I am faqir, I have nothing. Ya Allah, help me. Right? So he's making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to support him and to help him because he has no one there. So فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى الْإِسْتِحْيَاءِ. Okay, then فَجَاءَتْهُ, the girls, they approached Musa after that, after he had helped them and he aided them in taking their water back and facilitating for the animals and everything. After all of that, فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا, one of the two girls, they came back after Musa alayhi salam had done all of this good work. They came back to him, and what did they say? تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ, that they came to Musa alayhi salam and they came with this sifa, istihya. What does that mean? In shyness. Yeah. So one of the two girls, they came. Which of the two girls came? We don't know. We don't know. Yeah. So people try to investigate. We don't know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ihdahuma. One of the two girls. Tamshi ala, she came and she was very shy. قالت, and she said to Musa, Inna abi yad'uka, that my father, he is calling you. لِيَجْزِيَكَ أَجْرَ مَا سَقَيْتَ لَنَا, that he's calling you and he wants to reward you, give you ajr. He wants to give you reward because of what? مَا سَقَيْتَ لَنَا, because of what you did for us, the water that you helped us with. My father's calling you and he wants to help you. And don't forget, this came immediately after what? Verse number 24. What did Musa do when he sat down under the shade? He made dua. He made dua to Allah, or faqir. I have nothing. I'm sitting here under the tree. I've got nothing. I've got nothing at all. After that dua, Allah SWT sends one of the girls to come to him and she says, my father is calling you. Allah answered the dua straight away. Yeah. Allah sent the girl and said to him, come back. And my father, لِيَجْزِيَكَ, he wants to reward you أَجْرَ مَا سَقَيْتَ لَنَا, because of your help, what you did for us. فَلَمَّا جَاءَهُ, when Musa alayhi salam, he reached this man, وَقَصَّ عَلَيْهِ الْقَصَص, that when he reached this man, and Musa came to him and told him the whole story. Which story are we talking about? Yeah, the whole story. Why is he here? Why is he in Madian? Why is he sitting under the tree? So Musa told the man the full story. He was, dhulm happened and all this, he told him the full story, everything. What did this man say to him? قَالَ لَا تَخَفْ. He believed him. And he said to him, you got nothing to be afraid of. This is why some of the people, so when you say Shaykhun Kabirun, it's not just the fact that he was old, but he was also influential. Because if he had authority and power, that's when he say, La takhaf. Because I will protect you. I will look after you. So it shows that he wasn't a normal man. He was somebody who maybe he was wealthy, powerful. He had something. So he says, La takhaf, don't be afraid. Najawta min al-qawm al-zalimin. Indeed, you have been saved. And you have been protected from the nation that is oppressive and they're doing wrong. So now Musa alayhi salam, his dua is being answered. He's got protection. That's the first thing he's got. The man is telling him, La takhaf, there's no need to be afraid. Nobody's going to harm you. Now, the girls then, they say, قَالَتْ إِحْدَاهُمَا. One of the girls, they are speaking to their father. And one of the things they say to their father, what say, Ya abati, or Ya abati istajarhu. Istajarhu. Yeah. Ya abati. She says, oh my blessed father. And also here we say Ya abati in the sense that you can say Ya abi, but you can say Ya abati. Yeah, there's a difference. Ya abati meaning my blessed father. So it shows us that the girls have a good relationship with their father. And this is important. I want you to bear this in mind because there's going to be some good lessons going to come out of this. She says to her father, Ya abati. And if a daughter is able to say to her father, Ya abati, what does that show us about their relationship? It's a good relationship. Yeah, good relationship. It's not, oh, dad. Yeah. Oh, Ahmed. Yeah. Some people, no, it's she calls him my beloved father. And then she says that hire him. Yeah, hire him. Which shows us that this man, he had land. He had work to be done. So the girl said, hire him. Sorry, come inside. So they said, hire him. Then she explains, why should I? So she says, hire him. He seems like a good man. And why should you hire him? She gives a reason. She says, Inna khayra man istijarta al-qawi al-amin. That from amongst the people who you could possibly employ or you could possibly hire is what? Is the one that is al-qawi, the one who is strong, and al-amin, the one who is trustworthy. So if you've got land or you've got business and you need to employ someone, here we find that the two qualities that are looked for in a person is that he is strong and he is amin. Now, here another point to make mention is that the daughter is telling the father about the positive traits about Musa. Now, of course, you can analyze that and you can look at that for the sake of employment. No problem, that's fine. But as you'll come to see a little later, or as you see here, قَالَ إِنِّي أُرِيدُ أَنْ أُنْكِحَكَ إِحْدَى. I want you to do what? أُنْكِحَكَ, I want to marry you. Yeah. I want to the man, the father, he says, I want you to marry ihda ibnatayya, that I want you to marry one of my two daughters, hataini, from amongst these two. So when the girl saw her father and she said, this is a good man, of course we can look at it from the perspective of employment, but if you look deeper into it, what happened? The girl married Musa, which shows that the girl, she found Musa alayhi salam attractive. Yeah, attractive as a potential spouse. Yeah, and the two qualities that the girl found attractive in a man was what? Al-Qawi, Al-Quwa, strength, and Al-Amana. Yeah, so brothers looking to get married, two things. Yeah, strength, so join the gym, and number two, Al-Amin, fix your character. Yeah, those are the two qualities that stood out, and the girl, she found him attractive. So not a weak man or a man who's not trustworthy. So a man not of his word. So these are the two things, Al-Qawi, Al-Amin. So these are the two things that she made mention of, and they appealed. Another thing we can make note of here as well is the fact that when it comes to this marriage, which we'll come to see, who was the one who proposed or gave the idea of the man? The father is the one who approached the man, but who brought up the idea? The girl. Yeah. So here we find that the girl is the one who brought up the idea in a very intelligent way to the father. The father realized, I know what she's talking about. Yeah, which shows again that, in some of our cultures, if a girl went home and said to her father, Father, there's a guy at university, I think he's really intelligent. He'll say, I sent you to university to study, not to find a husband. And there'll be World War III in the house. Yeah. Whereas here we find that this man with his daughter, she said it in a nice way. She didn't say anything wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. He's a nice, decent guy. The father realized. So it shows us again that, fathers and daughters should have a good communication, to the point where if the daughter thinks she's found somebody decent, she's open to tell her father. And the response of the father is also very interesting. The father didn't start shouting or swearing at her, calling her a bad lady, you're out there checking out guys and all the rest of it. He didn't do any of that. He actually listened to her and said, you know what, you may be right. There's a hikmah. He said, you may be right. This guy's decent. So let's have a chat with him. And then the father, he proposed to Musa. In which culture does that happen?
No.
Huh?
No.
Does it happen in Iraq? Does it happen in Pakistan? The father approaches a guy and says to him, you're a decent guy. Would you be interested in marrying my daughter?
One of my daughters.
Oh, one of my daughters, yeah. Would you be interested? So this is, I'm purposely saying on purpose, because in many of our communities, sometimes the way we, and forgive me for being like this, but sometimes the way we treat some of our daughters is like achar, like pickle. Just leave them and don't let anybody talk to them. You don't find them a spouse and something's going to happen. No, you have to do something. Yeah, you have to be, and what better person to find a partner for a girl than the father himself? Yeah. Than her finding somebody herself. I'm not saying that's wrong either, that's fine. But what better person than the father? That the father is looking around, he sees a decent guy and he approaches him. There's nothing wrong with that. We shouldn't be shy. So here, I wanted to just draw your attention. So the man, he approaches Musa and he says to him that I would like for you to marry one of my two daughters. Ala an ta'jurani thamaniya hijaj. And he says, I would like for you to marry my daughter in exchange for. Yeah, in exchange for, so now he's talking about what? Mahr, right? So mahr is something not just in the Ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but mahr was something which was previously. So mahr is a gift that the man gives the girl. But what was the mahr that he proposed to him? He said, what? Thamaniya hijaj. I want you to work for me for 8 years. Yeah. Now, if you ask if you had to do 8 years of labor to marry your wife, would you give that mahr? I asked him for 8 years of work. Okay. Now here, you might think that the 8 years is quite a long time, but at the same time, what you got to remember is that Musa alayhi salam, he's got no money, he's got no house, he's got no job. He's a foreigner. He's not from Madian. So the man actually is giving him a wife, giving him a house, giving him a job, and giving him money. Sounds like a good deal, right? So how many fathers would accept the proposal or would propose to a man who's got no job, who's got no house, who's got no car, and he's new to the city?
They already killed a man there.
And he also told him, I killed somebody yesterday. So if Musa had hope, mashallah, both brothers here, you got lots of hope, don't worry. Okay, so this is why when you say thamania hijaj, that 8 years, you might think it's a lot, but if you look at the package, it's actually the man was doing Musa a favor. It was actually doing him. It's a good deal. I'm sure. I'm glad you recognize that. So it's a good deal. He said thamania hijaj for 8 years, and then he said not just that, but he said فَإِنْ أَتْمَمْتَ عَشْرًا. He said if you're able to complete 10, فَمِنْ عِنْدِكَ. If you do an extra 2 years, those are voluntary. Yeah, from the goodness of your heart, make it 10. But those two are up to you. So we notice here that the mahr that Musa alayhi salam had to give was to work for 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. On that note as well, just a few things. The mahr, when it comes to marriage, is the gift that the man he gives to the girl to get married, right? It's just a token of appreciation. It's not the value of the girl, right? So in some cultures you find, and I've traveled to a number of different Muslim countries and different cultures, and subhanAllah, some of the way in which some cultures marry is really horrific. Like the guy, in some, I won't mention names, but in some countries, like the guy, he has to have a house, he has to have a car, he has to have this much earning, and that is just the beginning. How is he supposed to get married? You know, it's the beginning of his life, and he already has to have the full package, which basically means he's not going to get married. That the men are not going to get married. Yeah, make it difficult. And the Prophet ﷺ said that the best of mahr is what? The easiest of them. Yeah, make it the easiest of them. So when it comes to mahr, yes, the woman should be given a mahr, but it should be something which is ma'ruf. Ma'ruf meaning which is normal in your custom. So you don't go too high, you don't go too low, but if the girl, because it's the right of the girl, if she wants it low, that's up to her. She can accept a low mahr if that's what she accepts. But the Prophet ﷺ said, bil ma'ruf. And how do you determine what is ma'ruf? Is that you look at what other women in your kind of social surrounding have been given or taken, and then you match that. Yeah. So don't go too high and don't go too low. And the other thing when it comes to the mahr as well, is that sometimes you may find that some brothers, and this is so sisters listen up, that some brothers when it comes to mahr they might try to be a bit clever, yeah, and when it comes to mahr they might say things like, look, the Sahaba when they got married, he gave a Qur'an, yeah, he said the mahr is I will teach you Surah Ikhlas, that's the mahr, yeah, so I will teach you Surah Inna A'tainaka Al-Kawthar, this is the mahr, because there were Sahaba who did that and the Prophet accepted and the girl accepted. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to do that, make sure the man who promises you that, he is of the quality of a Sahabi. Yeah, if he's of the quality of Sahabi and he says, I will teach you Ikhlas, accept him. Yeah? If he's not the standard of the Sahaba, don't accept it. Make sure you take a good mahr. Yeah, take what you deserve it. Yeah. Likewise, when it also comes to the mahr, and this is something that, because we engaged in this kind of thing, is that the other, I don't want to say a trick, but the other common problem that I find in mahr is that in some cultures when they do the mahr, they say the mahr can be given now or it can be given later. And which one does the man prefer? Later. Yeah, because later means
Never.
yeah. That's what it means. So when it comes to mahr, some men will say we can give it now or we can give it later. And at that time the girl, she's in love, she's excited. So she says, you know what, whenever it's easy for you, give it later. That was mistake number one. That was the first mistake you made with this man. Because later, when everything's settled down, it never comes. And there's many stories of sisters who've had difficulties or the marriage breaks down and the man never give the mahr. Right? So when it comes to the mahr, has to be two things. Number one, it has to be specified. Whatever it is up to you. Yeah, it has to be specified. It could be gold, it could be money, it could be hajj, umrah, whatever. It has to be specified. And the second thing is the man has to also specify when he's going to give it. Yeah, when. Those two things. If I ever conduct a nikah, I make sure I get those two things in writing. I make sure I put it on a certificate, the amount and the exact date the person promises to give it. So that way I've done my job. Because main time when they say later, that later never comes. Okay, and the mahr is the right of the woman. So sisters, that was to help you out there. All right. So if somebody promises you Quran or later mahr, I suggest you don't take that. Okay, good. All right. Another thing as well with regards to this is that this is the only place in the Quran where we actually see a marriage take place. where we actually see somebody offer a marriage and somebody accept a marriage. This is the only place in the Quran where we see an actual nikah, like an actual marriage. The father makes an offer and Musa alayhi salam accepts. So this is something unique as well about Surah Al-Qassas. Okay, good. Hope those points were clear. وَمَا أُرِيدُ أَنْ أَشُقَّ عَلَيْكَ. And the man, he says to Musa alayhi salam with regards to the 8 years, or if you want to do 2 more in addition, but that's up to you, because I don't want to أَشُقَّ عَلَيْكَ. I don't want to make your life difficult. Okay, I don't want to make things difficult. 8 years is the deal, and that's what the man puts forward. سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. And the man, he says to Musa alayhi salam that سَتَجِدُنِي, that you will find me insha'Allah min as-salihin, from amongst the righteous. So when this man is making this offer to Musa, he's not doing it out of deception or trickery. He says to him, you marry my daughter and you work here for 8 years and you'll find me as what? I'm a good man. Yeah, I'm a good man. Again, the point of that is what? That the father-in-law has a good relationship with his son-in-law. Okay, again, something very rare. Okay, so the father-in-law has a good relationship with son-in-law, and he says, "Satajiduni insha'Allahu min as-salihin." I will be from the righteous. I'm not going to wrong you. I won't do anything bad. I will stick to my deal. قال ذلك بيني وبينك. So Musa responds back, and what does he say? Accepted. Masha, he understood straight away. Yeah, he said qabul. He said, I accept. He said, this is between me and you, and I accept. So this is the nikah has taken place. Yeah, the first time we see in the Quran where a nikah has been done. Yeah. أيما الأجلين قضيت فلا عدوان عليه. He says to him, whichever term I fulfill, meaning whether I do 8 years or whether I do 10 years, فلا عدوان عليه, that there will be no obligation on me beyond that. So we'll do 8 years. والله على ما نقول وكيل. And Musa alayhi salam says, Wallah, indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is a wakil, meaning he is a witness, a guarantor upon what we have said. So the deal that we have made, Allah is the witness on this deal. So he accepts. Okay, and his journey begins in Midian and with that girl. Then we find that those 8 years, the period he works there, that period has been jumped. Right? So as we know with the Quran, you don't get all the details of everything, but you get the main points. So the marriage took place, he works there, and he fulfills his bargain. فَلَمَّا قَضَى مُوسَى الْأَجْلِ. When Musa alayhi salam qada, he expired, he completed his term. وَصَارَ بِأَهْلِهِ. Then he left. Okay, he left with his family. And where was he leaving to go? Yeah. So now we're coming to the other part of the story. So yeah, so we learned about Musa leaving Egypt, what happened. Then he went to Midian and he spent there 8-10 years there. And then he وَصَارَ بِأَهْلِهِ آنَسَ مِنْ جَانِبِ الطُّورِ. So he saw from the side of Min Janib al-Tur, on the side of the mountain Tur, what did he see? He saw Nara. He saw a fire. قَالَ لِأَهْلِهِ. When he saw this fire or this light, he said to his family, أُمْقُثُوا إِنِّي آنَسْتُ نَارًا. He said, indeed, I have seen a fire. Let me go and go to this fire. لَعَلِّي آتِيكُم مِّنْهَا بِخَبْرٍ أو جَذْوَةٍ مِّنَ النَّارِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَصْطَلُونَ. That he says here that let me إِنِّي آنَسْتُ نَارًا. That indeed, I have seen a fire. Let me go and accompany this fire. لَعَلِّي perhaps آتِيكُم مِّنْهَا بِخَبْرٍ. I will go find some news. What was the news that he was looking for? The story we mentioned previously, but so he sees light or a fire. He tells his family to wait here. I'm going to go bring some khabar, in news. News about what?
The way.
Direction, right? So he needs direction. Which way is it to Egypt? Or I will bring back he will bring back jazwatan or jazwatin, a burning wood. So either I will come back with directions where to go, or I'll bring back some wood of fire. So we'll have light, which shows us that it was dark, and also the fire will bring him heat. So I'll go back and bring some guidance, min an-nar, from the fire. Likewise, لَعَلَّكُمْ, that perhaps you tastalun, that you will be able to warm yourselves, yeah, from the fire. So Musa alayhi salam, now this is at this point what's going to happen. You know the story. So jumping the story, what's going to happen at this phase in the story? He's going to become a prophet in the sense that he's going to receive revelation, right? So فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا نُودِيَ مِنْ شَاطِئِ الْوَادِ. That فَلَمَّا أَتَاهَا, when Ataha. When Musa alayhi salam Ataha, he came to it, Nudiya, he heard, or he was called, min shati al-wadi al-ayman, from the right side of the valley. He was called في البقعة المباركة, in a blessed place, من الشجرة, and it was close to من الشجرة, a tree. And Ya Musa, O Musa, inni ana Allahu Rabbul Alameen. Indeed, I am Allah, I am the Lord of the heavens and the earth. So Musa alayhi salam, he approaches the fire, and it's to the side, okay, to the right side of this valley, and it's in a buq'ah, meaning an area which is mubarakah, a blessed area. That's why the mountain Tur is a blessed place. And he was near a tree, the burning bush, as they call it in English. And when he got there, he heard a voice, and the voice said, Ya Musa, O Musa, inni ana Allahu, indeed I am Allah, Rabbul Alameen, the Lord of the heavens and the earth. So it was at this point that Musa alayhi salam, he heard the voice of Allah, and he was also called by his name. Yeah. So imagine that, he's gone into this bush, he's gone into this fire, and he hears a voice which is scary enough, but the voice also knows his name. So he calls out to Musa. وَأَنْ أَلْقِي عَصَاكَ, and he is told to do what? Alqi, to throw his stick. So he is called and is told to throw it. فَلَمَّا رَآهَا, and when he saw the stick, and what was happening to the stick, تَهْتَزُّ كَأَنَّهَا جَانٌ, he saw the stick تهتز, move and shake, كأنها, as if it is a snake. Yeah. So not a thought band, but janun, meaning a large stick. وَلَّا مُدْبِرًا وَلَمْ يُعْقِبْ. That Musa alayhi salam, when he saw his stick turn into a large stick, وَلَّا, meaning he turned around, مُدْبِرًا, showing his back, وَلَمْ يُعْقِبْ, and he did look back. So what did he do? He ran away. Yeah. So he's heard his name, he's heard his voice, he was told to throw his stick, he threw his stick, it became a huge snake. He saw the snake تهتز, he saw it shaking. So what did he do in return? He turned around and he ran, which means he was afraid. Yeah. So Ya Musa, then the voice calls back and says, Oh Musa, أقبل ولا تخف. The voice calls back and says to Musa, Musa أقبل, meaning come close. Yeah, come back, return. ولا تخف, don't be afraid. إنك من الآمنين, that indeed you are from amongst those آمنين, you are from amongst those who are safe and secure. Yeah, you are safe and secure. That meaning that this voice or this mission, that what we are telling you, it is not to harm you or cause you any problems. Come back. So Musa alayhi salam is given reassurance. Yeah. Then we find the second miracle that takes place. Usluk yadaka fi jaybik. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him now to put his hand in his jayb. Jayb is a pocket. Put your hand in your pocket. Generally speaking, I think we mentioned this before, that the word jayb traditionally means this area here. Okay, so referring to this area here. But he's told him to put his fi jaybik, put your hand in your pocket. تخرج بيضاء من غير سوء واضم إليك جناحك من الرهب. Then he is told that take out your hand. Yeah, تخرج, take your hand out of your pocket. When he took his hand out of his pocket, it was bayda. It was what? White or shining. Yeah, it was different. It was bright or shining. من غير سوء. And it was من غير سوء, meaning without any su', without any evil or harm. What's the point of making mention of that? What does that mean? Yeah, good. Yeah, because some may think he's ill, or there's a problem with his skin, or some issue. So Allah's making it very clear that when he took his hand out and it was white and it was shining, that this wasn't because of an illness or a problem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very clear, min ghayri su'in, there was no issue there. It was purely from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was a miracle. وَضُّمْ إِلَيْكَ جَنَاحَكَ, and draw close to your side min al-rahab, yeah, from the fear. So and cross your arms tightly to calm your fear of what you're seeing. فَذَانِكَ بُرْهَانَ برهانان من ربك إلى فرعون وملئه إنهم كانوا قوما فاسقين. So on that note, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he informs him that these two things, burhanan, that these two things that you have just seen, number one, the stick turned into a snake, and the second thing is the hand turned white, burhanan, two evidences min rabbika, from your Lord. And these are evidences that you will know that you have a job. And your job is to do what? Ila Fir'aun wa mala'ih. So he's been informed. You've been given 2 miracles and you've spoken to Allah, which means you're a prophet. So he's got burhanan, two proofs that he is a prophet. And on top of that, Allah is saying, why have we told you about this? You've shown you miracles, you're speaking to Allah, you've become a prophet because you've got a job to do. And your job is to what? Go to ila Fir'aun. You have to go to Fir'aun and wa mala'ih, and you have to go sort out his chiefs. So immediately, without any delay, he's given a job description. So he's been made into a prophet, he's got revelation, and now he has to go and he has to sort out Fir'aun wa mala'ih. Innahum kanu qawman fasiqeen. Why? Because the nation of Pharaoh and all of them, they are fasiqeen. And I want you to note here as well that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about qawm, the nation, all of the nation, they are fasiqeen. All of the nation, they are disobedient. So it's not just Fir'aun, as people think, that are disobedient, but who else? Everyone. Yeah, the Mala, also the chief people, they also, criminals as well. The generals, those who are influential, the people in power, and also general masses. Inna kanu qawman fasiqin. Okay. We'll take one more ayah, inshallah. قال ربي إني قتلت منهم نفسا فأخاف أن يقتلوني. So قال ربي, he said, oh my Lord, إني قتلت منهم, that indeed I have killed from amongst the Egyptians, I've killed a nafs from amongst them. فأخاف, I am afraid, أن يقتلوني, that they will do what? They will kill me. Yeah, that if I go back, they're going to kill. So at the moment, Musa alayhi salam, who has he got with him? Just himself. And he's got his wife and kids waiting. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to do what? Go to Pharaoh. Yeah? How does that sound? But he didn't just say go to Pharaoh. He said, wa mala'i, and go to the chief of the army, go to the chief of the police force, go to the chief of the magicians, go and Musa, start your job, go. And also Allah hits one person, and don't be scared, go. What would be your reaction if that was you? So Musa alayhi salam, he's a human. He responds back and he says, but ya Allah, the job you've already given me is a very difficult job. But before I even begin that job, I already have another job to look after. And that is that I killed someone from amongst them. I'm already a wanted man. How do you expect me to fix the situation when I'm already in trouble? Yeah, there's a death warrant out for me. So he says that, akhaf, I'm afraid. So he's asking for what? He's asking for help. Yeah, he's asking for help. So you would assume here that when Musa is asking for help, because he has to go to Pharaoh, wa mala'ihi, and this army, and this huge superpower, military power, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bless him with an army. He's going to give him 10,000 men and say, off you go. Start your struggles. What does he say? Wa akhi Harun. Yeah, he refers to his brother Harun, who are afsahu minni lisanan. And my brother, he is more eloquent or articulate than me, lisanan, with his tongue. Okay. Now, here there are a few things which, there's different ways people look at this. Some people say that he had a lip, that the way he spoke, that some of the speech wasn't clear. But again, Allah alam, this is based on the Israeliyat, we don't know. But afsahu minni lisanan, generally meaning that my brother Harun, he is much more clearer, articulate when he speaks than me. Yeah, he's more influential with his speech than I am. Yeah, this is what's clear. فَأَرْسِلْهُ مَعِي. Then he says to him, فَأَرْسِلْ, and send him with me. رِدْءًا يُصَدِّقُنِي. Send him to me as a helper, and he will confirm and support that which I say. إِنِّي أَخَافُ أَن يُكَذِّبُونَ. I am afraid that when I go, the people, they will not believe me and they will deny me. So when Musa alayhi salam, he raised his hands to Allah and asked for help and asked for support, who did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give him? Or what did he give him? Just one man. He gave him Harun. Yeah, he gave him Harun. And what was the purpose of Harun? Because of what? Lisanan, that he was more articulate in his speech. And he said, because when I will speak, inni akhafu an yukadhibu, they will not believe me. So now the army is consisting of how many people? 2 of them. That's it. Yeah. So now he's been given his brother. So on that note, we will pause the story there, and we will continue to see what will happen in the upcoming verses of what will happen. Musa and Harun, they will approach Pharaoh, and we'll see how that happens. So we notice here as well that not just the physical strength, Musa alayhi salam was strong, but in order to influence a nation or people, not just the fact you need to be physically strong, you also need to be what?
Good talk.
A good talker. Very good, mashallah. Yeah, that in order to be a leader, you need to be a good speaker as well. Okay, that when you stand in front of people and you speak, you can lead them. And I addressed this topic in a khutbah as well for those who prayed in West Ealing, that the concept of leadership is very, very important and something which is lacking within our communities. That we train people to be leaders, we train people to take on responsibilities, not that we're all just followers, but they're actually leaders. One of the qualities of a leader is that they are able to speak, and when they speak, they listen. So what is the definition of a leader? A leader is a person who can, number one, gather people and then lead those people to a goal. That is a leader. So you have to have the ability and the skill to gather people, and then you also must know what you want, what you aspire to, and take those people to that goal. That is the quality of a leader. Yeah. Aims, objectives. And so one of those things, that one of the ways in which you can gather the people is through your speech, your writings, your public speaking. You can gather them. Second thing is also, we find, is through your manners, you as a person. Because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, before announcing an-nubuwah, we all know that the Quraysh used to call him what?
Sadiq al-Amin.
Yeah, Sadiq al-Amin. He was trustworthy and he was honest. So his character beforehand already had attracted people. So that when he proclaimed the message, Iqra, the Qur'an and so on and so forth, that we find people, those who were sincere, they followed through with the Sadiq al-Amin and they believed him. So leadership is very, very important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is telling Musa, Musa was a natural leader as well. Harun was a leader as well. They've been given a goal, which is now to go and sort out Pharaoh and his henchmen. And now the other job is they're going to gather the people. They have to go back and gather the people. When they get the people, they get closer and closer to fixing the problem that they have. All right, khair, alhamdulillah. I think with that we can pause there. No. The issue as well, we touched on the issue of mahar. Alhamdulillah, we talked about that as well in great detail. Just one other issue I would add to the mahar, because it is something which is relevant, is that in some societies, in some communities, that when it comes to the mahar, sometimes the mahar is so high that in order for the man to bring that mahar forward, in some cases that I hear that the man has to actually borrow money. So in order to fulfill all the requirements of the family and the girl's family, so on and so forth, he ends up taking a loan and borrowing money. And that is the beginning of the disaster. Because then after the marriage, what does he have to do now? He has to repay that back, which is going to annoy him, which is going to anger him, which is going to cause problems. So even when it comes to mahar, as there's the sunnah, to make it easy, to make marriage simple, and to just progress, not to start off in debt. Some people, 10, 20,000 pounds, they start in debt in their marriage. So these things are important. And if I can say that there's many causes that can destroy a family, but there's a marriage, but there's two common ones. One of those is sometimes interference from others. And secondly is also finance. So if you can...
Because it's constantly on your mind.
Constantly on his mind. So if these two issues a person can resolve, I'm not saying that they're only issues, this topic is very complicated, but the involvement of extended family can cause problems in the marriage, and finance can also cause a problem. So if you can, as a man, resolve these issues, you'll have a much safer and easier future. Yeah. Right, any questions? Yeah, sure.
So earlier in explaining that with the man in during the afternoon, there was quite a period. That information.
So, okay, so in verse number 15, وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ. So Musa alayhi salam, he entered into the city. Heen means a time of ghafla, min ahliha. The ghafla meaning that the people at this time were heedless, and they were heedless of what's happening. So this would imply, because Egypt, Cairo, this is a very busy time, when would be the time where people are heedless or there's not many people around?
Resting, yeah.
Yeah, the resting time. Whereas then after he killed the man, the next time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأَصْبَحَ فِي الْمَدِينَةِ. And the word asbaha coming from sabah means in the morning period, where there's lots of people. So when that man shouted out, "Are you going to kill me?" just like he killed someone yesterday, everybody heard it. Yeah. No. Any other questions? Yep.
When everybody was out and sleeping, why Musa and Islam was out?
That's a good question. When everybody was having a qaylula and sleeping, why were... No, it's fine. It's there. It's good. It's a good question. Why was Musa alayhi salam out and not sleeping? Allahu a'lam. I don't know. That's a good question. Inshallah, when you get to Jannah, ask Musa alayhi salam why he wasn't sleeping and why was he out.
If he gets to Jannah.
Inshallah, he will get to that. Inshallah. Yeah. But I don't know the answer to that question.
For women that has unresponsive parents, not helpful, she just approach someone she finds directly.
Okay, so the question is, if there is a sister who has parents that are not responsive, they are not helping her, can she approach a man directly?
Differ if it's like someone's been approved.
So does it make a difference if the girl has been married previously or she hasn't been married previously? That question is difficult to just answer on the spot because you have to look into the parents first. Why are they not responsive? Is it because genuinely they are difficult, or is it because the daughter is doing something wrong? So you have to look into the whole situation. But generally speaking, if the parents are not helping the daughter, then the daughter, she can seek other assistance. She can seek the assistance of her brothers. She can seek the assistance of uncles. She can seek the assistance of trustworthy people in her community or her society. There are ways about it. And even if she was to approach somebody directly, there's nothing wrong with that, but as long as you adhere to the principles. Yeah? If she was to show interest in someone, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, but as long as you adhere to the principles and guidelines, there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, and the thing with here we find with the girl is that when she saw Musa alayhi salam and they had that conversation, she immediately involved her father in the discussion. The wali was brought into the discussion immediately. Right? They didn't, but spend time talking and, do this and that. And then the last minute, the father was involved. Rather, she immediately, after the initial conversation, seeing the man seeing her, everything looks okay. She brought the father into the conversation. No. Any other questions?
Is it wrong for all these apps where a girl and a boy are conversations length of time?
So is it wrong for these apps for people to be talking for a long time, so on and so forth? To be honest, these questions are very difficult because when it comes to the topic of marriage, it's not textbook. It's not black and white. Do this, then that will happen. Then do this, and that will happen. It's a very complicated situation, right? So people are trying to find ways and trying to facilitate ways for people to get married, be that through introduction of families, be that through apps, be that through events. People are trying their best because, to be honest with you, this I think is probably one of the biggest challenge that the Muslim community in the West is facing, of trying to find suitable spouses. So if the apps are working, good. If a person is using those apps, I personally don't have any issues with that, but just kind of I know it's difficult, but try to draw the line somewhere. Like if you're talking for 6 months and there's still nothing happening, then maybe you need to move on. Yeah.
Finding a spouse is a risk.
Yeah.
It's a bigger risk. I think there's a age factor here. Situation, community. There's many people have been hurt through this system. Therefore, because being a part of the community, you get my experience suggests there is a need to have it.
Yeah. Sheikh, like Uncle is saying, that this is a problem in the community, and it's very scary when it comes to marriage, because you're dealing with people that you don't know, and you have to put a lot of trust in it, and unfortunately many times the trust is broken. So it's a very scary thing to do, and absolutely 100% it is a very scary thing to do. You know, like when it comes to the topic of marriage, you know, on a wedding day, everybody, those who've experienced their daughters getting married, everybody is celebrating, everybody is happy, everybody is throwing a party, but there's one person who is not. He looks like he is, but he's not. Who's that?
The father of it.
The father. His heart is shaking like an earthquake. He is so scared, but he's just putting on a smile and trying to be strong. But he is so scared because he is giving his most prized possession, which was the girl that he raised, he worked hard for, he did overtime for, he did everything he can to keep her safe, and now literally is handing over his most prized possession, and there's a fact, to a stranger. And he's only doing that because he's putting trust in Allah. That's it. He has to. This is the process of life. And sometimes it works out, and unfortunately, many times it doesn't. And then the father feels that pain. And,
There's an order from them.
because it is a natural system. Allah said that. And in the UK, not trying to turn into anything negative, but in the UK, they say that the divorce rate is 52%. Yeah, the divorce rate is 52%, and that's including Muslim, non-Muslim, 52%. So the father is obviously taking a risk, but this is part of life. Right? You have to do that. So finding a spouse is a very difficult thing. Finding a suitable person is a very difficult thing, right?
Not only scary of the divorce, there is a life threat to his beloved.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So as Uncle is saying, that it's not just the fact that you're giving your daughter to somebody strange, but there's also the threat that you don't know what happens behind closed doors. So everybody comes out smiling, holding hands and looking strong, but what's happened behind closed doors, the pain that the girl is going through, the suffering that she's going through, only she knows, you know. And that's why I forget if this is a hadith or it's a qawl of one of the companions, but that half of marriage is nisf al-din, is half your deen. And then the advice was فَاتَّقِ اللَّهِ فِي نِصْفِ الْآخِرِ, and then fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the other half. And when asked, what does that mean? That marriage is half your deen, and fear Allah in the other half. What does that mean? It means that when a man gets married, half of his deen is meaning his life is now stable. Well, it should be, yeah, stable. In the other part, this man, generally speaking, he is physically more stronger than the woman. In front of people, you can pretend to be happy and you can pretend to be nice and all the rest of it. But when you're behind closed doors, that's when you truly find out that the man who is strong, is he going to fear Allah, or is he going to take advantage of her? Like physical abuse, domestic abuse, verbal abuse, all of that. Is he going to be like that? And if he is, then when Allah said, فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ فِي نِصْفِ الْآخِرِ, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the other half, means that in that room, when it's just you and her, physically you are stronger than her. Yes, this is true. But on the day of judgment, who is stronger? Allah is going to be strong, and Allah will take revenge for any dhulm. So for the men, it's a very scary thing. Yeah?
Another thing that comes to mind is turning into the debate now. We take priority, wedding day, we're thinking of the event. We're not thinking about what is actually taking place. And the father of the girl is going through his mind and heart all these issues, because he has lived a life.
Yeah.
He has lived a life, and he's seen what has gone through. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so
It's
we
a
need to start emphasizing on the issues of life.
Yeah. So absolutely on that, or just to comment on that as well, is the fact that when it comes to marriage, and of course, it's not experts here, we're just speaking from experiences, that when it comes to the concept of marriage, that many times the youngsters, male and female, they are not trained, they are not educated about what marriage is. most of the time people are just thinking about the good side of it, the fun part and this and that, the holidays and this and all the rest of it. But the actual reality of marriage, which is 95% of the time, right, that you're going to spend with that person, the responsibilities, the finances, the human interaction, the up times, the bad times, all of those things, we don't train our youngsters with that. We don't train our men that when they get married, they have to work, they have to provide, they have to make sure she's safe, they have to do all of these things. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, الرِّجَالُ قَوَّمُونَ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ, that the men are the maintainers, not just because you're born a man, but because you have to look after her. And likewise, the women, when they enter into marriage, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also there is an expectancy that you have to fulfill your duties, live with this man. And there's nothing more difficult in this world than to live with a man, right? That's why the Prophet ﷺ, he guaranteed a woman firdaus, he guaranteed her Jannah. And he said that she will get Jannah, and one of the reasons, if she is patient and obedient to her husband. If she does that, because it's very difficult. That's her jihad. The jihad of the man, physical. You got to go do and you got to do things. That's how difficult. But the jihad of the woman, put up with your husband. Yeah, put up with this man. Anyway, any other questions? We got diverted here a little bit. Any other questions?
I have two questions on similar lines, and I will put them forward. You can ask them to answer them in one. If we become progressive minded and accept our daughter's choices, they found in university, should we accept it as it is, or is it a duty of father and brother to fully investigate? That's one question.
Okay.
You want to go ahead?
Yeah, one at a time. So in that, if a sister finds somebody who is suitable, then the men around her, the father, the brothers, and uncles, they should do investigation. They should try to find out. You can never find out 100%, but just the basics. At least try to find out what his character's like, what he works, what he does. Just try to do your best. And whatever little bit of investigation you can do afterwards, then you have to put your trust, tawakkul in Allah, and you have to move forward. So absolutely, you should do investigation and not just blindly accept. This is not just the brother, but also the sister. Now, if you're going to marry your sister, you need to do investigation and find out. Yeah. So you do need to do that, and that's something that is the job, by the way, of the man to do. Question number 2.
Why was it so common among Arabs and Bani Israel to put a man in such a difficult and hardship position to marry with their daughter? Example, Hazrat Mosa has to work for 8 years later. Also, Hazrat Yaqub has to do hardship work for 8 years also, just to find a woman.
I'm not sure about the second part of what you said, but the first part with regards to the 8 years, I mean, that is simply mahr, right? So that's the deal that they're making, and that's up to the girl to accept and also the man to accept. But even if you look at in other cultures, be it the Asian culture or other places, the mahr that they give sometimes is really a lot of money, and that's probably 8 years of savings. So it equates to the same thing, right? So the requirement is high, the 8 years. In other cultures, they have different ways of doing things. But to summarize, make it easy. Yeah, I say this to myself and to everybody listening, please make it easy, because the other side is very easy. So make it easy for the boys and the girls. Sisters, any question? All right, read out some of the comments. And if you have questions, feel free to ask. Asma Hussain sends salams to everybody. Sophia Akram as well sends salams to everybody as well. Brother Isam, he says, MashaAllah, wa alaikum salam to you as well, Sheikh. On YouTube, Bushra sends a salam to everybody in the class. Brother Tariq as well sends his salam. The Tirmizi family, Najma Tirmizi, sends salams to everybody in the class as well. Farhana sends a salam to everybody. Brother Yasir, mashallah, says Assalamu alaikum to everybody in the class. Aisha Bakhi says Assalamu alaikum to Allah to everybody in the class. Mu'min Ali says salam to everybody in the class. Auntie Azmat, she says Assalamu alaikum to everybody in the class as well, and to the Sheikh. Alaikum salam. Brother Amir sends a salam to everyone. Sister Firoza, Assalamu alaikum to everyone in the class. Brother Yama as well, salams to everybody. And then seafood productions. Back in the day, the men would save up for mahr because the woman was seen as so valuable. Okay? I think they're still seen as valuable. But maybe the men just don't know how to save up. Khalili says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bushra says, so did Musa get married and fulfill the mahr of 8 years while he was married, hence paying the mahr over this period? Yeah, so Musa alayhi salam, he fulfilled the term and he lived out all of those years and then he traveled after that. Some people go to pray for blessings by Mount Tur and pray to Raqqa. Is that permissible? Some people go to pray or for blessings. So number one, you are recommended to visit these places so you can see them, the miracles, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has described it as a blessed place. وَالتِّينِ وَالزَّيْتُونِ وَطُورِ سِينِينَ, that these places are blessed. وَالطُّور, it's mentioned in the Qur'an. So it's a blessing. Now, when you go there, there is nothing specific that you have to do. It's just a blessed place. If you want to pray raka'atayn, you want to do shukr, there is no problem if you want to do that, but it is not something which is something you have to do. It's up to you. Aisha says the onus is on the woman to don't make a demand that is difficult to fulfill and make it tough on the person you are intending to marry. Yeah. So sometimes, as the sister said, sisters can make it very difficult to get married. She should also facilitate for the marriage as well, which is true. Bushra, what if there is a good man, good akhlaq, and active in the community, but he doesn't have a stable income job? What is the ruling about him getting married as he can't really financially provide? So Bushra, in here is just my advice. What I would say is that if the man is showing potential that he can, then invest in him, right? Meaning if he's not lazy and he doesn't want to work, then stay away. It's not going to work well. But if he might, at this moment in time, he's not earning, but he's got potential. Yeah, you can see that he is going to get a job and he can make his way, then invest in him. That's what I would say. Khalil says, salam to everybody. Razia, can you forgive a mahr and not take it? Yes, you can. So if a sister doesn't want to take a mahr and wants to leave the man like that, she can if she wants. But I would advise take the mahr. Okay, I would advise take the mahr because there's no man, especially living in the UK, that doesn't have something to give, right? The minimum he'd give you his universal credit, right? So there's something he can give, right? So for a man to say he's got nothing to give at all and please marry me with no mahr, I find that difficult to believe. But if she wants to forgive him, that's fine. That's up to you. Okay, that's entirely up to you. Faraj says maybe a group of educated elderly people should get together to talk and give experience advice to young people getting married. Example, to seek advice when in problems. Faraza, that's a good suggestion. There is a lot that needs to be done in this field. We had these discussions, inshallah, we try to work something out. Bushra says, giving your daughters away is the hardest thing ever. They are a piece of your heart, subhanAllah. Yeah, and that's another reason to why when the Prophet ﷺ, he said that any father or brother who raises 3 daughters, and he did his best with their tarbiyah, with their education, with everything, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guarantees this man Firdaus, Jannah, promises in paradise. Now, it didn't say that they have to be the best, it just says that the man who tried his best, right? And when the man, when the Prophet said this, a man jumped up, and what did he say? He said, I have 2. What about a man with 2? The Prophet said, even if you have 2 daughters. When he sat down, what happened then? A man jumped up. What about if I've got 1 daughter? He said, even if you've got 1. Now, what does that show us? Again, it shows us Jannah is very difficult, brothers and sisters. Jannah is not given free. Yeah, this is not little. Yeah, Jannah is very difficult. So in order to get the most prized possession, you have to work hard. And the Prophet is telling us to raise your daughters is very hard work. Okay? So, Brother Yasir is, can a wife forgive the mahr and then change her mind? And then change her mind after 1 month and demand it? Sorry, Yasir, there's no changing of the mind. Okay, if she forgives if she says, I don't want the mahr, that's it, khalas. That's the condition you've given, and that's it. So,
Sitting very far and thinking very far.
yeah, so when it comes to the...
Where he is.
He's in Pakistan. So, when it comes to the shurut, the conditions of marriage, yeah, you can add any conditions that you want to the marriage, but they have to be done either before or at the point of the contract. You can't make conditions after. Yeah. So if you make any conditions after, this is the goodness of each other's heart. You can accept or reject. But if you make a condition before, then the man has the choice whether you accept or reject, or the girl has a choice whether to accept or reject. But after, you can't do that. Aisha, she says, these are topics that should be discussed, especially in youth circles. Very scary, especially for parents of young. Yeah, I agree. We should have these open discussions. Absolutely. As much as, subhanAllah, the ayah of khutbah of nikah so many times come to fit Allah. And Nazma fam, Jazakallah khair, POD student, Assalamu alaikum. How can I attend this class, brother? Where is it in person? Oh, so the classes take place in the University of West London, which is in Ealing, right? Ealing. So you can just St. Mary's Road. Jazakallah khair, barakallahu fiqh. Any last comments before we stop? No? All right. Barakallahu fiqhum. We'll stop there. Inshallah, we'll pray. For those who need to go can also leave. اللهم اجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. تقبل الله منا ومنكم إن شاء الله. بارك الله فيكم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.